Hello and welcome to another episode of Worst Collection Ever. This is the show where we tell you about the worst comic book collection in existence. And it just happens to belong to us. I'm Jen.
I'm Sean.
In quarantine, that's where we are. We're staying home, not like lunatics.
Lunatics. No, that's true. We are.
We're not
home.
Protesting.
We continue to be home.
We're not yelling that we need haircuts, and
I never need a haircut.
we're not conflating a mild inconvenience with tyranny. So,
Right.
hope everybody's doing well.
We actually watched the entirety of the Harley Quinn cartoon.
We did.
DC.
I mean, as many episodes as there are. I think.
There's a new one up now.
Yeah.
We haven't watched yet.
We watched the whole first season, and then on the DC app, so they drop a new episode every week.
Yeah.
So I think we watched the first 5 or 6 of the second season.
Yeah, it's around that part.
Yeah, it was actually
whatever's out up until last week. There's a new one. There's one more episode that's been out.
Yeah. I resisted watching it for a while because I didn't think I was going to like it. I was wrong. Mm-hmm. I did really like it. It was very funny. It's actually really, really, really funny. It's dirty. It's filthy. It's full of swears. It's kind of right up my alley.
It's very unlike DC in a lot. I mean, because I know DC does have their adult content. Even when comic book companies like Marvel and DC do stuff like that, it never feels complete.
Right.
It never feels like it's genuine from a company that also puts out superhero stuff that is very homogenized or scrutinized.
Right.
But it was great. It was good. It was fun. I forgot what it was. I heard one of my guys that I read for wrestling was watching this, and he was talking about on his blog, Scott Keith, who was talking about there's this conversation at the beginning. I think it was the most recent episode. These two nerd guys were bullshitting on the DC app. Had the DC app up in their, it's an animated part of it, and they're basically bullshitting on the concept of the Harley Quinn show.
Right.
Why is it up?
The funniest part about that is one is wearing a shirt that says "Release the Snyder Cut," and then what does the other one say?
I forgot.
It's really fucking funny.
Yeah, I forgot. But,
Yeah.
But somebody was like, "Oh yeah, it really relates to wrestling these days," and so I was like, "Okay,
It does."
Yeah, I can see that. And so I was like, "All right, I'll check it out." And but I didn't want to check it out from just that particular one. I felt it would make more sense just to watch it from the beginning.
Yeah.
And, eventually get there. But damn, if that's not a bingeable show.
Oh my God, it totally is.
It breezes by because they're basically they're half-hour episodes.
Yeah.
They're just so much. There's so much ridiculousness going on at any given moment.
Yeah. In
this show, there's a lot of great voice acting in it. Kaylee Cuoco is Harley. Lake Bell is Ivy. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't realize how much of the supporting cast was like.
Right.
Because I just thought it was Harley, and then she just did a bunch of stuff, and Ivy was there. But it's pretty much it's her.
She has to get her own little crew together.
Yeah, she gets a crew.
So Clayface is there. Clayface is so fucking funny because he's just such on a different wavelength. He's a serious actor, so everything is a role.
Yeah.
It's really fucking. But Bane is my favorite. He's not part of Harley's crew.
Well, we'll get to that, but I want to talk about her crew first.
Oh, okay.
So you had then you have Dr. Psycho, who is. I don't know enough about it. I know he's a Wonder Woman villain.
Yes.
Who becomes disgraced because he calls Wonder
Woman a cunt.
He calls Wonder Woman a cunt on live TV. so everybody, even the
Legion of Doom disavows him and kicks him out.
Which the Legion of Doom in this is kind of like a corporation in a way. It exists.
It's really funny.
In Gotham by itself as a the headquarters that you would see in the swamp actually just exists like a building, and so they have just an office culture to it. But
they have their own offices,
right? So then you have that, and then you have King Shark played by Ron Funches.
Yeah, really funny. King Shark wearing a hoodie and cargo pants.
Yes, he just looks so. He's a tech expert.
Yeah,
he knows how to do websites, and at one point he puts these little glasses on his head.
Oh yeah, itty tiny little glasses. It's really funny.
But it's Ron Funches' voice. So if you're not familiar with Ron Funches, he's like, "Hey, how you going?" He's just got this silly voice. That's just how he sounds.
Yeah.
And Ron Funches is hilarious too.
Yeah, he's very funny.
And it was actually kind of nice because he was in that Powerless show.
Yes, he was. He was one of the office workers in that show.
He was on there, and then
I'm sure he's been writing for stuff because he used to.
Oh no, Ron Funches is always busy.
Yeah, he's always. Oh my god, he's so busy.
Yeah, the dude's always writing stuff, but he's also like he's a touring comedian.
Yeah,
he's got movie roles. I mean, he's got stuff he's doing. But I'm saying, but for a guy like him who is a lot like ourselves, a lot like myself.
Oh yeah, he's a huge wrestling fan.
Huge nerd,
huge
comic book guy, just into that shit.
Yeah.
So he gets to play King Shark, but it's such a crazy role. Like, he's a shark too, so he occasionally when they're, in the middle of these melees, he'll just bite a person. It's like,
there's so much blood in the show.
Yes, that's the thing. There's a lot
blood,
of blood.
There's bones like coming out of skin. Like people get flat out murdered.
Yes.
In this show, which is actually kind of great.
Yeah, it is. It is very crazy. Oh, and then last but not least is Cy.
Yes.
Who is voiced by Jason Alexander.
Yeah, former CIA, now old man turned landlord.
Yeah, he's a former he just commits war crimes. He's kind of
he's a war criminal.
You know what he is? He's kind of like Frank Reynolds.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, so he's
for fucking war criminal.
He's a character that apparently. Well, not apparently, but he's from the Harley Quinn books.
Yeah, which I've never read.
That have been out for the past 10 years, and stuff that I'm not familiar with. But I guess he's a part of that. So they integrate him in the show, and it's just you have to, if you have the DC app or whatever, just check it out. You'll like it. You wanted to talk about it because there's a bunch of other characters in the show.
Pretty much you'll see a bunch of different. Batman obviously shows up. Catwoman shows up for an episode.
Even Superman does show up.
Even Superman shows up, and Superman's really fucking he's the most Boy Scouty of boy. He's such a fucking chode, which is great. And Wonder Woman's there, so there's a bunch of stuff. But part of the Legion of Doom, and they have a break room, and Bane is there because Bane's part of the Legion of Doom, and he has a coffee cup. That says what does it say?
Coffee is my reckoning. Yeah,
coffee is my reckoning. And every single time anything happens to Bane that he doesn't like, he just threatens to blow it up. Yes. That's his answer to everything. He will drop something and he's like, I will blow you up. It's just really fucking funny.
He's also voiced by James Adomian.
Yeah, I love him so much. I wish there was more Bane.
Yeah, well, there usually is. There's usually good helping of Bane. Yeah, James Adomian, who's he's a funny comedian, does a lot of voice work and stuff. He's Bane, and it just kills it because he's just
so funny.
Because they're basically doing the Tom Hardy version of it.
Yeah.
Because I know that on the animated series, he was, it didn't sound like that.
No. On the animated series, he was much more. He was he obviously didn't have that voice and stuff.
But they did it, and he's just sitting there, and every time he's like, "Oh, I'm going to blow up the stadium."
Yeah, whatever he's gonna do, and if someone's having a problem, his only solution is you could blow it up.
I'm going to blow up this smoothie stand. Or whatever.
Pretty much. I'm gonna blow up the smoothie stand. I'm gonna, he drops an appetizer and he threatens to blow it up. It's very fucking funny.
Because he's always wearing his mask.
Yeah,
and he's always
they're all wearing their costumes all the time.
Yeah, they're always wearing their costumes all the time. What's his face? Wayne Knight Newman is the Penguin.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole one where they go to the Penguin.
Mr. Freeze is in it.
Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze is a level of fucked up I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just a few others
Two-Face obviously is in there.
Two-Face. There's also some weird stuff Giganta was married to
Dr. Psycho.
Dr. Psycho. But now mind you, Giganta's giant woman.
She's a giant woman.
And Dr. Psycho is this diminutive man with a giant head.
He's small.
He's like a little toy, or whatever. But he's just constantly swearing and just a awful monster.
Yeah.
And then Wanda Sykes is the Queen of Fables?
Queen of Fables, which apparently is a real comic book character. I thought she was created for the show.
No. She's a real character that I think Mark Waid created her.
Yeah, I was not aware of.
She was a part of some Justice League comics. And
she's extremely fucked up.
It's very violent.
And so violent. It's so sweary. It's just really fun. It's just this is what I want out of my cartoons.
Yeah.
I want swearing and I want just violence, and I want this to be just dumb.
I want Justice League Unlimited, but just like this.
Yeah.
I just want all the characters, everybody just showing up, just swearing,
yeah,
and being ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
It's fun. It's a really good time.
It's by far my favorite Harley Quinn related property, and I know
Me
that's
too.
for somebody like me who I don't dislike the animated Batman animated series, but I don't have the connection to it like you do.
Oh, I do. But I don't. Here's the thing. I don't love Harley Quinn as a character. And I never have. It's never hit with me. It never resonated with me the way it resonates with other people, which is fine because not every character is going to resonate with you. You know, I've always been drawn more to like Catwoman, obviously. Yep. I don't dislike Harley Quinn, but I'm not like, oh my God, Harley, I love her. You know, and I know people do, which is fine. So for me, I'm just kind of like, okay. Like, I'm not here for Harley Quinn. I'm really here for everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, Harley's good in it. It's not her. It's just that character has just never resonated with me. Just never has.
I love it. And,
yeah, it's fun.
I'm hoping that they do more things like that, and hopefully this will stick around. And and because they do stuff on the show too that's like not entirely just for comedy. It's also very like heavy and just
Oh yeah,
I mean, a lot about like mental illness and relationships and it's not crazy Emmy stuff, whatever.
No, but I mean, you can't really talk about Harley Quinn in an adult way and not address the fact that she had a seriously codependent, abusive relationship with the Joker.
And that's a big
and you can't not address that.
There's a lot of that centers around that on the show. But it's definitely worth checking out. I'm certain there will be other parts that come up as we continue to watch it that we'll bring up because there's some good jokes in it. What else did we watch? I saw The Ring for the first time last night for We Hate Movies. That movie, it's not great. I don't think it's as great as I mean, it's good.
It's fine.
It's not.
I saw it in the theater.
Mind blowing to me. It's one of those things where I was thinking about why I never saw it is, and I think I figured this out. Like from 98, 99ish to like 2004, I was so wrapped up in like music. Because I was doing the metal shows and I was going to concerts and I had a lot. So that took up a lot of my time that when it would come time to see a movie.
Sure.
I wouldn't do it. I just didn't see the point in going out of my way to see a bunch of movies. So there's a lot of stuff that would come out in that time period, which The Ring came out in 2002.
Right.
It was one of those things where it's just like never decided where it's like, oh, let's go see this movie. It's like, no, I just never saw it. So, and the horror movies too, at least from my circle of friends, I like them and I like them more. I for whatever reason, I liked them more. I liked them more as I got older.
Right.
Than I did. I mean, I still enjoyed them, but it was never a genre. Like it was more always like, let's go see comedies and action blockbusters and stuff. And, so I never really got around to seeing, movies like The Ring.
Right.
That being said,
I don't remember if I saw that by myself or not. I don't think so. I think my friend Shannon came with me. Because a lot of times, I would have to go watch that sort of shit by myself. Nobody came with me.
Well, if you wanted to see it, you go see it. And I never was one of the people. I was never a person to just be like, oh, I'm gonna go see a movie myself.
Oh yeah, I do that.
It never occurred to me that as an adult I should do that.
Oh, you know what? It is an enjoyable time. I would seriously encourage people that if you're worried about going to see a movie by yourself, don't be. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, obviously now it's the now, but like in general, in normal times, there's nothing wrong with going to see a movie by yourself. It's actually I have a good time with it. I buy my ticket, I get my popcorn, my thing, my soda, and I just sit there and I just enjoy this movie.
Yep.
And it's just me hanging out by myself.
Yeah. And
I used to do that, especially like when I was in Boston. When you went to LA to do the internship. I would go shopping. I'd take myself shopping on a weekend and I'd go to the mall or whatever. I'd go to Downtown Crossing and, buy clothes or whatever. And then I'd stop and I'd go see a movie by myself. And it was great. And I enjoyed it. And I thoroughly recommend it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you saw that I've never seen.
Yeah, because I'd go by myself.
Yeah. Anyways, I watched that for the first time last night. It's dumb. There's a horse death scene that is...
Sean was like laughing so freaking hard today.
I saw it when last time we watched it. I didn't like that scene at the moment. I was actually upset by it because it's the horse.
It's a horse.
It's animals.
It's not a real animal.
That's why I at least at least for me, I'm not going to watch that Tiger King.
Oh no! Thank you very much.
Just a lot of animal abuse or
There's people getting hurt.
people getting hurt and animals
Getting hurt, and that's upsetting to me.
There's a scene where a horse falls off a boat. In hindsight, thinking about it and explaining it to Jen,
Oh my God, he was cackling.
because we were going to get some coffee today, and we were taking a drive
Drive-through.
and drive-through coffee, yes. And I saw a horse because Denver out here, you see horses all over the place. And I told you, it was like, oh yeah, by the way, I watched do you remember this horse scene? And as I was describing it, I could not stop laughing.
Couldn't stop laughing. It was like yelling in the car.
Because it's funny.
Just like losing its absolute shit describing this horse scene, which I've seen The Ring before. It's been so long because the only time I ever saw it was in the theater.
Well, also look at anticipating the guys talking about it.
Yeah.
So, but it's just this thing where the horse, tries to run over Naomi Watts, and she jumps over.
So fucking funny.
And the horse hits the side of the boat. And what I compared it to was when you play the Lego game, and it's particularly, I think in the third the Batman, the space one.
Yeah.
You could be Bat Cow.
Yes.
And my favorite thing about there's a few things about Bat Cow. One thing about Bat Cow is like Bat Cow, like it'll moo, but it'll like also angry moo.
Yeah.
It'll be like, moo, moo. Like just,
I love Bat Cow on that. It's so funny.
What you could do is you could jump the in these games you don't die.
Right.
You just respawn right away or whatever. And there's really no consequence. But in this particular one, you could just take Bat Cow and just run them off a ledge, like just have them run and they just go. They make like noises.
Yeah, they make really sad death
so
noises.
It's kind of like what's happened with this horse, because this horse is underwater and it's like and he just gets chopped up by the boat. Oh fuck!
Oh, Shaw's having a good time with this horse.
yeah. Treat yourself, guys. But just watch that scene.
I'm sure you can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, just watch that. Don't worry about the rest of the movie. It's fine. There's some other bullshit in that movie too that's stupid, and that movie is just dumb in general, especially because it's 2002. So we had DVDs, but we weren't quite DVD.
Yeah.
We fully weren't a DVD.
People still had VHS copies of shit.
You still had to deal with the VHSs.
And it is funny for people to be like watching VHS tapes and all that sort of shit. And I mean, we didn't have smartphones, and so like the actual landline has to ring and that sort of stuff. So it is
ridiculous where there's like the landline rings and everybody, it's like, what if you're not near your phone? Like, what if you watch it and then you immediately go out?
Right, you're gone.
It's like, how you can get that call?
Right, and if you don't get the call, do you die?
Well, there's a few times in that movie where I think it's after the kid watches it.
Right.
And spoilers.
That's creepy kid, by the way.
Who became like a legal counsel for the government.
Apparently this kid, like the kid who played the kid in The Ring, ended up like going to UCLA and like graduating as like the valedictorian at like age 15
he
or
was
some
like Doogie House or shit.
Yeah. And then he went to Harvard after that and like became a lawyer by like age 21, and he like works for the government now. He's like a legal counsel for the government in Washington.
Does anybody that works there at the government, they're like, they come in for some serious government stuff, and they're like, hey, do you remember that part in The Ring where that horse jumped off the boat? And
he's like, no, I wasn't in that scene.
He's like, no, I haven't watched it. I don't even know. Were you there? I know you weren't in that scene, but did they just kind of have you? Were you like, did they just like get everybody? I don't know, but
yeah,
that's actually endangering a child.
Yeah, that's
you can't have that.
He wasn't there.
You can't go John Landis on that shit.
Oh Jesus!
That's another thing, because we watched. This is a while back, a couple weeks ago. We watched the remaining episodes of what's that show called?
Oh, I don't remember. Cursed.
Cursed. I think it's just Cursed Films.
Something like that. It's on Shudder, and it's about cursed films.
And one of them is the Twilight Zone movie.
Yeah, where that guy gets where that guy and children get fucking decapitated.
Get decapitated by a helicopter that fell, and R.I.P.
Yeah,
those people, because Jesus Christ. And John Landis, who director of Animal House and just a number of movies. American Werewolf in London, he just comes off as just a piece of shit.
He really does,
and it's not in the way that he's just like, I don't care about things. He just doesn't seem to grasp the reality, it just doesn't feel like it's the thing that is like, I'll just do it because it's whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and just like his son,
Well,
who is not a good person.
No, and you kind of see like people telling him like, hey, maybe, you know, we can't use these kids.
Well, he's using the kids illegally.
Well, that's the thing, because he wanted it at night, and, you know, there's laws against those kids like working at night. So he was like, well, we're just going to go like get some kids. We're not going to go through a casting agency. We're not going to go through, you know, whatever. We're just going to literally go get kids off the street and just pay the money so their parents are there. And like the explosions are huge, and it just rocks the helicopter and it comes down and it decapitates these kids when their parents are watching. They're right there.
Yeah.
And it just killed the guy who did the, you know, the stunt coordinator guy who was there, killed his career completely.
Of course.
Yeah. John Landis was all right. Don't worry about him.
John Landis, for whatever reason, everybody was like, oh, yeah, he's still cool.
Yeah.
You know, and then there, you know, it's the same thing with his son.
Yeah.
His son, I mean, you don't hear a lot about his son entirely, but when you do hear stuff, it's always bad.
Well, I think
because he sucks.
Because he did Bright. His son did Bright. And
he wrote Bright.
He's
a writer.
Right. And I do remember when there was a lot of tweets being like, this is the next Star Wars. It's the most amazing thing anybody's going to ever see.
Remember that scene in Star Wars where Chewbacca was on the Joe Rogan show?
That's right. Oh, God, I forgot about that. I forgot Joe Rogan's in that fucking movie.
Well, not just Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan podcast.
It's like playing on TV.
Well, no, not Bruce Willis. Will Smith is watching it, getting ready for work on his computer.
Oh, I thought he was playing it like on a CNN.
No, he was watching the YouTube video, and he's talking, you know, it's Joe Rogan talking to some orc.
Oh, God.
He's talking to, God.
That's so fucking funny.
That's as funny as that horse fall. That's funny. That movie's a piece of shit.
Yeah, that movie sucked.
I think that was about it. I got a few more gimmicks in the mail.
Sure.
Which, speaking of gimmicks, we'll throw this out there before we take a break. Another video of me talking about my toys.
Yeah.
My action figure collection is up, and it's me talking about some new figures I bought because I got so many of them, and I take so long when I talk about them.
I know.
But I enjoy it.
I know.
I enjoy having long conversations about a action figure that nobody really cares about.
I know, but I have to rein you in, because if it were up to you, you would just spend like 6 hours talking about the whole case, and we'd have like a huge fucking video that we could never upload.
I could.
I know you could. That's why I have to rein you in.
I could.
And you kind of get mad at me for it. And I'm like, no, really, we just want to do this. And then afterward, you're like, oh yeah, it was a good call.
So yeah, but that is up on our Facebook page, facebook.com/worstcollectorsnetwork. Great. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back with our book for this week.
You like cheap comic books, right? Well, I'm Professor Allen, and I talk about cheap comic books on the Quarterbin podcast. In every episode, I'll dissect a single comic from my collection, as long as I paid no more than 25 cents for the issue. Forget about $4 new comics that you can read in 4 minutes, or crossover events that can cost $100 to collect. Join me in the Quarterbin, where even bad comics are a bargain, and good ones are a steal. The Quarterbin podcast is part of the Relatively Geeky Podcast Network. Visit us at relativelygeekypodcast.blogspot.com or search Relatively Geeky or Quarterbin Podcast in iTunes. I guarantee it'll be worth every penny.
All right, we're back here at Worst Collection Ever with our book for this week. It is from our continuing pile of comic books from Mile High Comics that they sent us because I purchased them. Mm-hmm. They just sent them to us.
We bought them.
I gave them money.
Yes.
And they arrived.
We exchanged money for comics.
Right. Goods and services.
Yes.
But we have here from DC Comics the next issue number 1 from September 2006. And this is a mini series. It's a 6-issue mini series. And I had never heard of this book.
Nope.
Until we
received it. Yeah.
I've never heard of these characters.
No.
And I am glad I never did. Well, just I want to get your initial impressions of this book.
They're trying to do a whole hell of a lot in this one issue. And we'll talk about it, but for me, I'm kind of just like, all right. I mean, I guess I understand what they're trying to do, but I don't really care about it.
Right.
So that's what I say.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. A lot of what's going on here, because it's a lot of heavy, like, time travel mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
Is it timey-wimey? Is that the term?
Timey-wimey.
That's like a Doctor Who term.
Oh, I don't know. I've never seen Doctor Who.
I know the term is timey-wimey.
Oh,
but I don't know
sure.
what exactly. I feel like it's just something like a lot of time travel bullshit.
Yeah, sure.
But we're here. We have the cover of this book, and this logo is atrocious. Mm-hmm. It's basically one of these with the letters all jumbled and faded.
When did this come out?
2006.
That's later than I expected.
It's much late. Yeah, it feels like it should be like a 90s.
It really
product,
does.
or at least an early aughts.
Yes.
And it's not that late. I mean, it's
not that late, but
I mean, it's what 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Which, we were 2006. I mean, we're getting. I feel like by 2004 we kind of got out of whatever was the early aughts. Mm-hmm. Like we're kind of burning that off. I feel like we were moving forward from that.
Yeah, this is definitely like a throwback.
It feels like even more of a throwback to me.
Yeah.
But here it is. And on the cover here, it says the next above the logo, it says, will they save the universe or destroy it? We have the characters. But of course, since this is the very first issue, and we need to establish some sort of resonance in the DC universe proper, Superman is here.
Yes.
Thank God. We have Superman carrying a park bench. He's flying. All these characters, a bunch of these characters are flying, and we have a park bench. Superman carrying a park bench, and on the park bench is so there's a girl that we're going to be introduced to named Monica Wong, mm-hmm. who's got pinky black hair. We have Cindy, who's the pink girl in the pink.
Kind of looks like a flight attendant.
Then there's between them is this dog, just called Dog.
That's just Dog.
And it's a translucent dog.
But it's like made like inside of it are just like gears. It's like a robot.
It's like a robot. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
And behind the bench is, I believe this is Slam.
Oh, I didn't catch that guy's name.
Yeah, there's Slam, and he's carrying. He's kind of like grabbing the bench, and he's kind of like gliding behind it. And he's like a black dude with like an Argyle hat.
Yeah.
An orange coat. And to the sides of Superman, we have I believe this name is Tweet.
Yeah.
Who's a orange woman with white hair and white costume.
No, I didn't think that one was Tweet.
No, it has to be Tweet because there's only two girls. And I'm reading the names right here.
Let me see. Because I thought Tweet was the one, because this is Poetry Slam or whatever.
Oh, no, what? You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly thought it was Storm. And I was like, wait, wrong universe.
You're right. This is Slam. Okay, you're right. This is Slam.
Yeah.
And
Tweet was like the little guy who comes up and he's like, what's your actual name?
Is it this guy?
I think
on
it's
the other side?
That guy. I don't know. We'll get there.
Maybe I'll figure it out. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so maybe Slam. Okay, so you're right. Slam is the girl.
Yeah.
Is this orange version of Storm. And the other two guys, the guy with the park bench and then this other guy hanging out Superman's cape, is just a dude that looks like Jamie Kennedy from... Seth Green from Can't Hardly Wait.
100%.
Wearing goggles, which is the movie we watched the other day.
We did watch that because it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. And, so it could be either Tweet or Ben. Ben.
Yeah, it's one of the two.
It could be Tweet or Ben. So I don't even know how to explain this beginning. I think the easiest way is to say that there are these amorphous blobs that are traveling through the space-time continuum. They're like escaping their home world. It's not really a world. It's like I can't explain it. But there's these like blobs and they're going through time and they're talking to each other. And then Dog gets like sidetracked. And he escapes. And he escapes the continuum and he ends up on Earth.
Our
New
Earth.
Earth or whatever.
Or the Earth 1, whatever.
Basically, like teenage time blobs.
Yeah, they're aliens, sort of, kind of, but also sort of theoretical beings. It's really hard to explain.
I think they're on the run too, because from this Iron Ring.
Yeah, which
folks,
we get
we'll
to later.
a little bit
Yeah.
later. So they're on the run here, but this dog happens to jump out of the whatever path they're on and ends up on the the main Earth, and the blob jumps out and it turns into like a basic like a Scotty dog.
Yeah, like a translucent Scotty dog, and it lands outside of this apartment building, which I will have to say it takes place in California, probably a town that doesn't actually exist, but it is
Santa Valda, which is
I don't think that's a real place. But the way they draw this apartment building is like the most classic LA Southern California apartment building.
Yeah.
It's very spot on, I will say.
Yeah, it looks very much like
it really does.
like a spot somewhere in on Victory Boulevard.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I've seen that.
So we meet up with this girl, Monica Wong, who thinks she's hanging out with her mom's boyfriend.
Well, she's
or
like
stepfather.
Well, no, so it's her mom's boyfriend, but she's gonna go to school, and her mom's probably at work, and her mom's boyfriend, who just sucks, is there, and he's always
he has
like
a star in one of his teeth.
Yeah, and he says like creepy shit to her all the time,
If
and
this
she
was a
hates
live action
him.
movie, if this was a live action movie, he'd be played by I forgot. Is it Luis Gomez?
Probably.
What's that actor? Is the actor I'm talking about? We saw him the one time.
We saw him at that Puerto Rican restaurant. I think you're right. It's I'm almost positive
I don't want
that's
to
his
say
name.
it's Gomez, but I mean you know what I'm talking about. Luis Guzman. Luis Guzman. Thank you.
Yeah, and you're 100% right. He does look like that.
Yeah. So he's being very gross towards his
girlfriend's daughter. Yeah. So she's like, fuck off, dudes. She goes outside to go get the bus. And this is what I mean by they're trying to do like way too much. So like she goes outside, she sees this translucent dog. She's like, what the fuck, you're a translucent dog. As she's waiting for this bus, we cut to the inside of the bus. And it's like, this is the bus drivers. And
we
this
get a
is
little
what's
out of the
happening.
bus driver.
What's going on. And she's got a good safety record. And I'm like, you know what? You could have cut that.
All of that.
All of it, because you know what? It doesn't matter. I don't need to know this woman's name. I don't need to know her safety record. I don't need to know anything. I just need to see her driving the bus. Not even. So she's talking to this dog, and these being things are like, oh shit, we have to get her to leave the dog alone.
Because they can see and somehow observe this. I just want to say, this bus driver may be the most rounded out bus driver in comic book history.
I believe you are correct.
Outside of Crankshaft.
Yeah.
it goes. There's a hierarchy of
Crankshaft, this bus driver, everybody else.
This bus driver, all other bus drivers in comics.
Yes, you're right.
That's how it is. So if you're looking to get your comic, your animated or your visual medium bus drivers in order. Mm-hmm. This is the order. We're giving you the order.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she's talking to this dog, and they're like, "Oh, she shouldn't be talking to dog." So
let's get her like to leave dog alone. So let's scare her by like becoming an adult authority figure. So what they do is become a giant version of her.
Yeah, like a monster version.
Yeah, and it's like no bad, like they start saying like no bad dog, and of course she runs, obviously, into the street in front of the bus and gets hit by the fucking bus. And so then they're like, oh shit, well we can't just leave her to die. That's like not our thing, and we caused this, so we have to do something.
Yeah, so they jump out wherever our timeline is. And I think this is what they do when they do this. This causes some sort of problem, or maybe it's.
I don't know if it's dog or if it's them. I don't know.
No, I think it's when they jump out, but it's hard to understand because there's another like temporal issue going on in this book.
Yeah,
and I can't exactly understand if this is being affected. If this is what affects. If this is the reason for it, or if it's something completely different.
Right.
Anyway, so they jump these blob teenagers jump out they don't know what the hell's going on. They don't know how to talk here. So they jump out and they're like, all right, step aside. We get to the authorities. And then one of them just goes, I'll kill everybody.
Right.
And then everybody runs.
I mean, I don't really know how they know about Earth. I think they have some sort of programming or something.
Probably.
That they refer to later. So they take on like the physical form that they think would be fine, but they just end up looking like presidents.
Yeah.
Like Roosevelt and Lincoln and like all that sort of shit. So, what's her name? Monica?
I think it's well, they mentioned it being like Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, Mount Rushmore. But what's her name? Monica?
Monica.
So she's like dying in the street, and they're like, okay, well, we can't let her die. Now, this is what I don't understand, like why they make this choice. This is the part that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because they're like, well, we can't let her die, but if we give her synaptic energy or some bullshit, if we do that, we can never leave this place. Mm-hmm. I don't know why they would make that choice.
I don't know. I mean, they are on the run, so maybe it's something where like, okay, we jumped out and it just makes sense for us to be out, so we don't have to continue running or whatever.
Yeah, but they're like, all right, well, we'll just give her this, but that means we can never leave.
Monica's trying to figure out what the hell's going on. There's just a bunch of bullshit going on.
Yeah, and there's just like, are we not a married? There's like a joke about all of them being married, and she's like, well, you know, if you don't want us to look like that, how about we'll look like this? So that's when one of them becomes the flight attendant.
Yeah, one of them's just like, okay, look, we'll take forms that looks acceptable. So I'll be one girl turns into Cindy. She's the flight attendant.
Yeah, and they're trying to like take and they're like, well, how about I'll take names that no one else has. I'll be, and then it's like just a fucking like 15-word string. I think it was supposed to be funny, but it's not funny because it's too long.
Well, the one tries to say Benjamin Jefferson State-sponsored Thomas Alva Global Franklin warming baseball cake. So they just call him Ben.
Yeah. And I think that was supposed to be like, oh man, this is supposed to be a really fucking funny joke. And you're like, it's too long to be a joke.
I don't even know what the joke is. It's just like...
But that's what I mean. It's like, because he's just pulling words together because these are the ones he knows. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, okay, but if that's going to be a joke, it needs to be shorter. And it needs to like have some sort of punch to it. It's just nonsense.
Right. And then the black dude, he comes out and he's like, all right, I can't figure out a name. Yeah.
And I think he's Tweet.
He's Tweet because he says something. He says some sort of weird language.
Well, no, she says, well, what is your name? And it's in like an alien print. And she goes, well, I'll just call you Tweet. And he goes, all right, I like that. So he's Tweet. And then
why this other girl though turns into poetry slam, like why she looks like that?
It doesn't. Well, you need a sexy babe.
I guess. I mean,
because
they're all trying
babe.
to like blend in with the rest of society. And I understand that maybe, the classic Pan Am flight attendant might be a stretch, but this one just looks like...
She looks like Storm.
Like Macy Gray's... Storm with Macy Gray's hair.
Yeah, I can see it.
So they made a symbiotic connection.
Which is really dumb.
But they're stuck on the Earth.
Yeah.
Which makes it like I guess you would say a 3-hour tour, like a Gilligan's Island.
She makes like a Gilligan's Island joke, and I was like, would a teenager in 2006 make a Gilligan's Island joke? I'm going to go with no.
Nah. I thought that was a very... It's kind of like when, a lot of times in WCW, Bobby Heenan would make jokes, but he'd make jokes about like these classic TV shows.
Right.
From like the 50s.
Which are his frame of reference.
Which is his frame of reference, but it doesn't go past that.
But that's kind of the thing. That would be like if I was writing for a Gen Z teenager and I'm making fucking references to the X-Files, like... Those kids, they've never fucking seen the X-Files.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, why would you make that reference?
Hey, that's a cigarette smoking man? They'd be like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why did you even bother? So, then we cut to, like, the Iron Circle,
Iron Ring.
Iron Ring. So apparently this is the ruling class.
Right.
On their planet.
Yeah, they're a bunch of cloaked guys.
I don't know.
And they're like, well... These kids, they're a bunch of idiot kids, but we need to capture them and return them back to this time, and we will decide their fate. Monica, being alive, she heads back home, and for some reason, these the next they shrink down into a different size.
Yeah, and they like go in her backpack.
Like a small size, and they're in her backpack, and they're just on her bed.
Yeah, so she's taking them out, and they like, Slam gets big or whatever, and they're kind of just like hanging out and talking about stuff. One guy's just like pontificating about bullshit. And then
what? Yeah, this. Come on.
I think it's Ben.
Ben is explaining this. What their explanation is: look, we're from a different time, but we're the next evolution. They explain that I feel like we're the next evolution of the human race.
Yeah, but they're not humans. They're like humans because they're like, oh well, I hope your species doesn't make the same choices ours did.
Right, because she's
so
like,
it's not humans, but they are. It's just so weird.
Because Tweet's like, yeah, we're next, that's all. And Cindy's like, he means we're people like you a few dozen centuries from now if you take certain paths.
Yeah.
So we may be on the next path to being these idiots.
Right.
Being time globs.
So then like
it's almost like a cautionary tale, but I mean, I'm like, well, you guys are shapeshifters and you
have powers.
Yeah, you look whatever.
So then, like, her mom's boyfriend is actually home. She thought that he wasn't.
Yeah.
And so then he's like being gross.
Yeah, because he sees Slam and he's like, oh man, look at his hot lady. He says something like, hey, why don't you come in my room and I'll rub some lotion on you.
Yeah, because he says she looks like she has a sunburn.
And she does a thing where I don't understand why she does this.
I don't either.
But she charges at him. But as she charges at him, she puts her hand into like the metal sign.
Yeah.
And she does
the
Malika, and she does a goozle.
Yeah.
And she googles his throat like that. Pins him against the wall.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm gonna kill you, and he's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I'm gonna call the cops. Blah blah blah. And Monica's like, well, he's not gonna call the cops because he's on parole. But we still have to get the fuck out of here because he's going to tell my mom some bullshit and I don't want to deal with it. So then they leave.
So I could think at some point they, when they're in this room, they send out some sort of repair construct.
Yeah, because they're trying to fix the hole they created in wherever they came out. So the hole in like the space-time continuum or whatever. So they send it out to repair itself, I guess.
So that's happening, but then this is where we jump in with Superman.
Right.
And Superman is just out in space blowing up rocks with his eyes.
Yeah.
Because
he's got stuff to do.
Because apparently there was a rock, like he doesn't really say like a meteor, but he's just like, oh, I was just breaking something into small enough pieces to burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. I have to, but he's visited by Metron.
Right.
Of all fucking people.
Right.
Fucking Metron.
Metron, yeah, which is real weird. He's like, "Hey, Superman, I got like
it's a very weird collection. Like,
yeah,
it's like, okay, here's your miniseries. You want to establish these new characters. Okay, you got Superman. Great, Superman will do something, and maybe they'll fight some villain or whatever. But then you got fucking Metron,
right?
Who's probably one of the lamest new gods.
Yeah,
and the new gods aren't that great to begin with.
No, there's a bunch of lame ones.
We don't really get excited about the new gods.
Nope. But
you got the guy in the chair, and he's like, "Hey, Superman, what's up? There's like a temporal disruption."
Yeah, he's like, "I got some like weird disruption, but it's not like very big, and that's why I find it interesting." So like, I don't know.
You're just kind of out here just shooting rocks with your eyes.
And then Superman's like, "Oh yeah, no, I kind of feel it.
Superman is playing real life asteroids.
He really is.
The Atari game.
Yeah, and he's like, "Let me." He's like, I'll rub my hands together and get like static electricity.
Yeah, I don't know. So I was watching Superman do this. I'm like, what is he doing?
I don't know. And he's like, I'm just going to put like static electricity around it so it doesn't keep leaking. And
apparently apparently
sure. That's a power he has.
That's a thing that, I did not know. And this is like 2006. So we're not like, we haven't rebooted him, I don't think, again. We haven't gotten to the new 52. So he's just rubbing his hands together.
Doing a weird...
Doing the Mr. Miyagi, like...
He really
he's trying to heal Danielson.
Either that or, like, he's kind of like... Did you ever do it when you were a kid? Where you'd, like, wear socks and, like, shuffle across the carpet and, like, touch something? That's kind of what he's doing.
Oh, man. He's doing the carpet shuffle.
He's doing the carpet shuffle. He's like, oh, look at me.
But somehow he takes this ball of energy that he's created and just expands it around this big, like, green whirlpool, the temporal disruption.
And he's like, well, that'll keep it for now. I'll go see, like, there's a trail, like, leading to Earth. I'm going to follow it. Mm-hmm. But apparently, him putting the ball of energy around the leak, like, creates a monster?
It's like a cocoon that allows it to change into something else.
Okay.
Yeah, so whatever is going on, it just changes to, like, it basically looks like a big green eyeball.
It's an eyeball.
And so Superman's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go check this out, and he starts flying into California, but there's some sort of like field. I don't know how to explain it. It's some sort of time disruption field.
Yeah, and it kind of like, I don't know, flattens him or something.
It gooifies because his hands start getting all like gooey, and they start moving, start expanding. It's really weird.
Yeah.
So we catch back up with the next, and Monica's out to take them to some friend of hers or whatever. And just as that's happening, a dude in a giant unicycle. Is that what they call it?
Yes, he's on. It's not a unicycle. It's one of those like bikes that has a giant front wheel. And
there's a name for those.
There is a name. I don't remember. But this is what I don't understand about this is because it's like it's like in 1882 England.
Uh-huh.
He's riding his bike and a hole rips in space-time and now he's in Southern California?
Yeah, 2006, yeah.
I'm like, but shouldn't he be in England?
I don't know. I don't know.
He should, because I don't know. Isn't that how time starts overlapping? I don't know how that works.
Yeah, because the time-space continuum is fucked, and Turner D. Century is now here, and that's how this ends.
What's his name?
Well, the guy, it's just some guy. I don't know if it's
Turner D. Century?
Well, I was thinking about because
I was like, is that his actual name?
Well, they say this guy's name is John Henry Milligan.
Sure.
But I was thinking when I saw this guy, because there's a Marvel villain that looks like this guy, and he has like I think he rides like a unicycle, and he's very much a Turner, like a 19th century dude.
Yeah.
And his name is Turner D. Century.
Oh my god, that's
and he's
funny.
really into that. And he fucks with Spider-Woman a bunch, but then he gets shot in the Scourge. Captain America. He's one of those guys.
R.I.P.
That we've talked about. I don't know. Maybe they brought him back. I don't know.
Sure.
But that's how this issue ends. Next issue, the fabric of time and space is completely hosed.
So here's my question before we get to if we'd read the next issue. Is there actually a next issue? How long did this run for?
Six issues.
Oh, it only ran for 6. Okay.
Because it's a limited series.
Oh, well, you know what? That's good.
However, these characters
Exist?
have only been around for those 6 issues.
That makes perfect sense.
DC in 2006 was like,
no.
Nah, man. We can't. We had Superman in the first issue. Nobody bought it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Nope.
That's it for those guys.
Yeah, I'm going to say that nobody cares, which is also me.
There's a lot of DC books and a lot of Marvel books too end up like that, which is messed up.
Sure.
Because, people out I would think that as an accomplished writer or artist, you'd be really excited to get a new character out there because it's hard.
Oh, yeah.
To get new characters established.
Yeah.
Or at least, think about, depending on how they're introduced or where they're introduced, you think about guys like, Gambit or Deadpool or whatever, and you just don't know, depending on the popularity of the book or whatever thread that's a part of, you never know if it's going to be any good.
Right.
And so, you got to start somewhere.
Right.
But this was not it.
Nope.
And I do not want to read the next issue of this.
Me either.
Because I can't even understand most of this.
Yeah, no.
And then I don't feel. I hate it when a book makes me feel dumb.
Yeah,
I mean, because that's what I'm saying. I know it's not the intention.
Right.
But it's something where I'm reading it, and you got these characters blabbing out about time and space, and
it also doesn't help
that fun.
It also doesn't help that the way they speak is written because it's like, well, they're not from here. So they're not going to exactly phrase things in like the best way. But in doing that, it makes it even more confusing. So I'm just like, what?
I wasn't happy with it.
No, I don't like it.
But it only got read because they gave it to us. Like, I wouldn't even give this a second look.
No, I wouldn't.
If I saw that, I'd just be like, what the fuck? Okay.
Yeah.
But that's it for this week's episode. Let's put a pin in this. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Angry Hero Sean.
And I'm at Jen Stansfield on Twitter and Instagram. You can find the show on Facebook, Worst Collection Ever, and email the show, worstcollectionever@gmail.com.
And please rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you get the show. We're on Spotify. We're on Stitcher. We're everywhere. So you should
All
check
the places.
us out. Yeah. So please give us a look and tell your friends. Leave a review. Let them know that you check out the show. That really does help us. And hit us up on the Facebook and comment on our shit because that's always fun. I'm right now looking up and seeing if Turner Century does make a comeback, and he does.
Ooh.
He grew up in the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. Somebody who was his foster father kind of did like a village on him and wouldn't let him like access like new things.
Okay.
So when they let him out, he was like, haha, I love the 1900s. And so he was murdered. And then, this is one of those dudes that got reanimated by Arnim Zola. That's going to be if I can never find a way to get all these issues, because a bunch of those guys that died in I don't know if we've touched on them before at some points, but I've often mentioned that one of my favorite, not favorite, just because it's just such a violent blip, but the time when the Scourge, Captain America villain, was going around just killing random lame ass villains, and then he went to a bar and just killed a bunch of them, and that was at the time, they weren't around. A lot of those guys weren't. They're just dead. Arnim Zola or somebody just brought a bunch of them back, and they fucked with the Punisher, and I've always been very fascinated by that. So, anyways, that'll be a book for another time. We still have plenty of. We got a lot of DC books in this pile. A lot of crap. Not as many Marvel books as I was hoping. All right, folks, stay inside, stay indoors, stay healthy, be smart,
Wear a mask.
and thank you for listening, folks. We'll talk to you again next time.
Bye.